Welcome to If You Even Care. Thank you for being here and for caring. If you've never been here before, go ahead and buddy up with somebody who has been. They're going to kind of give you the tour, show you around, teach you the ropes. You're going to want to know where your bathrooms and your exits are. How's everybody doing this week? How are we? Another episode. I know. It's like, what else is there to say? What more can be said that hasn't already been said? And I guess this is what it's all about, is seeing if the well runs dry. What's at the bottom? We'll find out together. This week, I had a very disturbing moment when I went to like a vintage clothing thing. It was like an outdoor thing with a bunch of vendors, and it was so cute, so fun. There's not a ton to do that I'm aware of, at least. Probably is, but you'd have to kind of go looking for it where I live. So this was nice, walking around outside with the coffee, looking at the clothes, the toys, which I was probably more excited about, like real Furbies, old ass toys. I love a Furby. I love an iDog. Okay, a micro pet. Do you know a micro pet? Yeah. Micro pets, those were my shit. I've got a crazy eBay wish list of a bunch of like early 2000s toys that I'm trying to work through, but love them. So there was a couple of vendors that had them, just some cool stuff. And I ended up getting a few shirts, and one of the vendors, I bought a shirt from her. Very nice woman, very kind, very sweet, and took a photo of me so fast. Took a photo of me so fucking fast with the shirt that I was buying. To see a photo of yourself in motion, already a little jarring. You're not prepared for it. I'm moving. I'm not supposed to be seen in motion. I found out because she asked me to follow her on Instagram. She was asking everybody to follow her, and I can't say no to nice older women. I just can't. It's not something I'm capable of. Followed her and then saw myself. So that's not really, wasn't ready for that. And it's one of those things where it's like, even when I take a photo of myself, I'm like, I don't know if that's what I look like, but yeah, okay. We'll roll with it. Whatever. When someone else takes a photo of me, I'm like, that's not what I look like. And I've never looked like that a day in my life. I don't know who that is. I don't know what you're showing me, but I know what I look like up here. That's not it. So go ahead and delete that. And don't capture me in motion. That's just crazy. I'm taking a step forward. I'm moving to the left. I'm moving to the right. I'm not meant to be seen that way. I'm not meant to be captured that way. That's not supposed to happen. That's like forbidden media. No, I consented to a photo when I was posing for the photo, at which point she was done taking it. So, very nice woman, great selection of clothes. What is your problem? What did I do to you? What did I do to you? We just met. I thought we hit it off. Now I'm getting a photo posted of me with me walking forward. You're out of your fucking mind. You've lost it. So there was that. But other than that, lovely day. Absolutely lovely. Also because it's nice out, or starting to get nice out finally. Needed that real bad. My block is starting to get a little crazy. I was worried for a little bit because Birdman, who is my neighbor that throws bread on everyone's porch except for his own, to feed the thousands of birds that he attracts to the block, he wasn't throwing bread for a little bit. I was starting to get a little bit worried. It's like an annoying thing because the birds come and they shit on everything. I've talked about this on here before. The time when I found out that it was him, I was sitting in the car with birds shitting on the roof of the car, watching him throw bread. Because they eat the bread. They're not supposed to eat bread. it doesn't sit right, they immediately shit themselves. And they're doing it above the car. So it's like an annoying thing. But then when I didn't see him doing it, I was like, I hope everything's okay. There was a brief moment where it made me a little bit emotional because I thought maybe something happened to him. And he is overall a nice person, a little odd, but like very nice. And it seems like he gets so much enjoyment out of taking care of the birds, or what he thinks is taking care of the birds, that I was like, if he stopped doing that, something's up. But he's back at it again. As I learned by stepping on bread in front of my house. People got their things. They've got their things and they've got their quirks, and it's just a part of who they are. And I've accepted Birdman for who he is, flaws and all. I think the birds have too. I think everyone has. But I've also been just like weirdly emotional this week. This kind of always happens to me when it starts to get nice out. I get very excited about summer and all the things coming up, and it's my favorite time of year. I love the heat. I love the sun. I love getting out of bed easily. I love not having seasonal depression. So, but it also makes me a little bit emotional leading into summer. Like, I was at an ice cream shop with my mom and sister the other day, and a kid got out of the car with his mom. Young boy, he was in like a soccer uniform, and it was a gorgeous day. Like, the sky was so blue. The clouds were really big and puffy. Like, it was just so nice out. There's like a little bit of a breeze. And this kid just got off of soccer practice or had like a game. And now he's getting ice cream with his mom. And I was like, he's having such a good day. He's having such like a really nice day with his mom. Like, he probably saw his friends. He got to play a sport that he probably likes. It's a lot of probablys, a lot of assumptions, and now he's with probably his mom getting ice cream. That's the only thing I know for sure, is he was getting ice cream. But it really made me emotional. Did I cry? No, that would be weird. If I looked over at this mom and her son getting ice cream and I was crying, what would I even do? I would explain what I just said, probably. And they would either think I was really weird, or they would be like, yeah, we are having a really nice day, actually. So that's very nice of you. Or something in between those two scenarios could happen. I have no idea what that could be. I'm not going to risk it by letting a tear fall. I just want them to have a nice day. Continue having a nice day. Don't worry about the weird emotional woman eating mud pie ice cream. It's everything right now. Everything is making me emotional. Watching Biscotti playing with a toy the other day, just kind of passing it back and forth in his hands, made me cry. Just because he's playing by himself. I started crying. And I am looking into getting him a friend. We're going to get a second cat. So he'll have a little buddy. And hopefully that goes over well. I'm a little nervous about it, to be honest, but I'm just like, it's fucking everything. There's no outside factors either. I'm not on a new birth control. I'm not under immense stress. Everything is pretty much the same, except that everything's also making me teary-eyed. Something about this weather or the time of year, I don't know what it is, but I'm just kind of leaning into it. Letting myself cry when I feel like crying, which has been often. Anyway, I'm going to switch gears here, because I do have a couple of things to go over. I have a topic I want to talk about for this episode. But first, I am going to be vulnerable. I need to put something out there, a question to you guys. I think that some of us might be seeing the same guy. I'm not sure how many of us, but I guess I'm just looking for clarity, for honesty, for anybody who wants to come forward, who feels comfortable coming forward, to let me know if they have also been seeing this man. So I'm going to go ahead and put a picture of him on the screen. Yeah. You might know him by a couple of different names. You might know him, as I do, as Zach with 2 C's. You might know him as Zach with 2 K's. You might know him as Zach with an H. That's ZHAC. Or a myriad of other names. apparently, because he's got a lot of different accounts out there, which I didn't know. Obviously, I know the real him because he promised and because he said, I swear to you, may I get hit by lightning if I'm lying. People don't just say that. People don't just go, and may I get struck by lightning if I'm lying, when they're lying, because nobody wants to get struck by lightning. That would hurt so bad. So, but that doesn't mean that I'm the only person he's been talking to, because after so many years, it's like, why can't we meet up? Why haven't you changed your profile picture? It's just this one picture all the time. Can I get an updated photo? It's been what? It's been how many years? Over a decade. Where's the new material? It's frustrating. These are some of the issues that we deal with in our relationship, but I am starting to become concerned that maybe this has been going on for so long because I'm not the only one. Obviously, I'm joking. Me and him broke up forever ago. Years and years and years ago. So whatever he's out there in the world doing now, not my problem, not my business. Okay. But I will never forget the feeling the first time I got a friend request on MySpace from somebody with that profile picture. I had no business being on MySpace at the age that I was on MySpace. I had no business being anywhere that I was on the internet. None at all. None at all. Like, girl, stick to Toontowns and Neopets. I was fucking around on Second Life, and, well, Neopets wasn't safe either, because wherever you were online as a kid, an adult was going to message you at some point. MySpace was probably the worst out of all of them. One of the worst places that you could be online as a kid without any parental supervision, because you had nothing but like fake profiles, especially during the scene. This is during like the scene days. Scene was huge at the time. And it was just a bunch of people with fake scene profiles. Granted, some of them were probably also kids, like probably my same age at the time, who had no idea what they were doing either, and teenagers, but a lot of them were definitely adults too. I'd never seen this guy before. I'd never seen a photo of this guy. I was new to the whole scene thing, but as soon as I saw scene queens for the first time, like these women with the millions of layers in their hair, teased up real big with a ton of hairspray and like a million bracelets on. I've always said on here, I've never thought anything was cooler than wearing a lot of bracelets. To this day, that's fucking like, it's just something about it where I'm like, if I wear 2 bracelets, I'm a little overwhelmed. To see somebody loaded up with jewelry and they just don't seem bothered by it, they've done it for long enough that it's just a part of them. They can just wear a million bracelets, rings on every finger, and function, go about their day. Not only is it gorgeous, but that's also impressive to me in a way that, like, when I'm wearing jewelry, I feel the jewelry. I'm wearing a necklace. I am aware of that necklace the whole time. Don't diagnose me. Don't diagnose me. What you can do is you can diagnose each other. But one of the rules around here that I just established now is no diagnosing me until I open up the floor for a diagnosis, which I will do at some point. I've done it before, I'll do it again. MySpace was so scary for that reason. But when I got that friend request from this guy, the blue eyes, the black hair, the super high brightness, high contrast photos, I was like, a fallen angel? What are you doing here? I've never seen a boy that looks like that. Boys at my school don't look like that. Boys at my school look like Ed, and Eddie. They don't look like this. Is this real? But there was no AI and there was no like anything. And the first time you see that photo is the first time you see that photo. So I got a friend request from him and I was like, my God, I've made it. Wow. Me with what I wanted to be scene hair. It was like, my mom wouldn't give me scene hair. I would Google it for her all the time and I would show her pictures and I'm like, listen, basically, you're just going to take a razor and cut my hair a lot. But the thing is, my hair is like a mousy brown. So I can't be seen with mousy brown hair. I'm going to need like a hot pink or like a black. My mom would not let me do it. I was way too young. So I had a mousy brown scene haircut. She also wouldn't give me as many layers as I wanted. Me and my friend Nikki would always go to our moms and ask, can we have more layers? Can I have the razor maybe? Maybe you hand me the razor and I'll take it into my own hands. But no. So mousy brown hair, maybe 5 or 6 layers, and 2 skinny little blonde extensions from Hot Topic, kind of like JWoww's hair, if it was mousy brown. So that's what I was working with. So I had a picture of me with my hair, like my, whatever it was called, fringe. I don't remember what it was called at the time, when you would like kind of comb your hair into your face. That was everything to me. I thought that was the coolest shit ever. And super high contrast. And I looked like a child because I was. I was a child stealing my mom's camera and sneaking the SD card into my computer so that I could upload these photos to MySpace with the contrast super high. And that's where our love story began. Basically, I accept the friend request. Of course, he messages me something along the lines of, "You're very pretty. Can I get to know you so that you can become my girlfriend?" Just off rip. We're already going there. He knows what he wants and he's gunning for it. I respect that. So I respond, yes, of course. Yes, absolutely. What a gentleman. He puts my name somewhere on his page. From there, I don't think we exchanged more than like 2 more messages with each other. But he put my name on his page, like when people put like the name and like the date that they started dating. And then nothing really came of it from there. But that also means that I guess we never really broke up either. We never officially ended things. So I've technically been with him this whole time. That guy absolutely has to be one of the most catfished people ever. And they were doing it with the scene girls too. I was getting friend requests from girls where I was like, I just saw you yesterday. And that was not your name. So, but they were all kind of similar. It was like, take your name and then a random word or an adjective. And you put them together with like 2 X's at the front, 2 X's at the end. Like Amber Terror or something. So I'm like, okay, I just saw you yesterday, but your name was Nicole. Adding all of them, because you never know who's the real one. And I don't want to miss out on that, making connections with the scene girls. Finding out, hey, how did you get your mom to let you dye your hair black? I was thinking about that feeling of getting that friend request and how that was like such a small moment that felt so big to me. Not because I thought I was going to like get married to this guy, or maybe I did. Knowing me, very likely that I would have thought, okay, well, yeah, we're going to get married. So that's probably how this is going to go down. And then he would have sent me a message that was like going too far, that felt like really bad and adult. And I would have never messaged him again. I don't think that person did, but that's kind of how things like that would go. A grooming attempt with me never went far because one thing I didn't have was follow through. I saw that one episode of Degrassi at whatever age where she meets up with the guy online, and that scared me out of even responding. But before then, it was like I'd be on Neopets. Some guy would fucking message me in whatever guild I was in, ask me questions like, would you kiss me 1 time or 2 times? And I'd be like, 1 time, I guess. Yeah, I guess 1 time. And then they'd respond and be like, wow, you're actually really smart and mature for your age. Where do you live and what time do you go to sleep? And then I would be so full from eating Pop-Tarts in front of the laptop that I would just kind of stop responding. I would get freaked out. I'd go, oh, I have a Pop-Tart stomach ache. I don't want to be on the computer anymore. Log off. Never reply to them again. The reason why that friend request was such a big moment for me was because I was like, okay, I'm finally being recognized by the scene community. They see me, they're looking past the mousy brown hair of it all, and they're looking at my profile and they see my blingies and they see my pink skull and crossbones little thing that I got going on, little theme, and all the work that I put in. all the HTML, and they respect it. They're noticing me. And that was really why I wanted to be on MySpace. That was so fun, the customization. And I always wonder if we were able to do that on Instagram, would people actually do that? Like, would people take advantage of it and actually like do their pages, like make their pages nice? Or would the cool thing be to like ignore that feature? Like, would people just be trying to keep it as simple and minimalist as possible? Or would they go all the way? Would we revert back to like sparkly GIFs? I don't know. But that was why I was on there at a very inappropriate age. It looked fun, and it was. But it got me thinking about little moments in my life that felt so huge. Something I always think about is I remember seeing a clip forever ago of Bill Burr talking about how he believes that he's a good father because he remembers what it was like to be a kid. He was basically saying how for a kid, your world is so small that little things like stuff like going to school and not having the same shoes as everybody else is a massive deal to you. That's everything to you. But to an adult, you're going to look at that and go, you're not going to care about that 10 years from now. Like, who fucking cares? Like, kind of poo-poo it. And he was saying that he makes a conscious effort to remember what it was like to be a kid, remember how big of a deal these things were. And I was thinking about that because I'm like, wow, some of the stuff that felt so huge in the moment to me was really just like this tiny blip in time, this like tiny little nothing. But, and like to my parents or to anybody else, it probably didn't seem like something that would stick. It's like core memories, yeah, but like you wouldn't think so in some of these cases. And then others of them are just stuff that like, again, was small, but felt huge. Felt like everything shifted. The world just shifted for me. So I'm going to read off a couple of these. I am curious about your moments, if anybody has a little thing like this that just felt so big at the time. And then looking back, it really was like such a small moment, but it meant everything to you. First one. Being dropped off to go to the movies with my friends and getting to walk around the stores before the movie started. I felt so grown. You couldn't tell me a single fucking thing. My friends and I went to the dollar store. We went to every place around just because we could. I had no spare money for any of these stores. Well, I had a little bit of money for the dollar store for candy, but we did not know what to do with all that freedom. We were roaming around that shopping center like we owned the place, like we'd been there 100 times. Just another day for us. Soaking up every single minute of that independence, going into Petco for no reason. My friend bought a goldfish. It joined us for the movie, and she got yelled at when she was getting into her mom's car after the movie for the goldfish. I don't remember what happened to it. I can only assume bad things. She did not have a fish tank at home. But that's just the kind of stuff we get into when you let us loose. When you let a couple of preteen girls loose in a shopping center with an hour to spare before the movie. Also, seeing Twilight New Moon in theaters for the first time. That also made me feel very grown. I was like, wow, I'm in a room, a full packed theater. I've never been in a theater that packed before. Full of moms and teenage girls and a bunch of people who I thought were so cool because they had Twilight shirts on. Team Edward, Team Jacob. And I was like, I'm just like them. And we're all kind of just in this together. And the way that theater roared when Jacob takes his shirt off to dab Bella's bleeding head. I was like, am I allowed to see this? This is crazy. Like, I'm really here seeing this. It's just a man taking his shirt off. I was like, guys, I really don't know if we're supposed to be seeing this right now. Another one is when I was at a sleepover at my best friend's house, and she told me her parents have a movie called American Pie, and this movie is crazy. It's full of sex and a bunch of insane shit. And she did ask her parents if we could watch it. They, of course, said, fuck no, absolutely not. So when they fell asleep, we snuck into the living room, stole the DVD, and watched it, and just about every single joke went over our heads. We did not really understand what we were watching, but we were watching it. And that was the important part. That was what made us feel so cool. Yeah, I may not get it. And some things make me feel like I kind of want to call my mom and say my stomach hurts and go home, sleep in my bed. But I didn't. I remember being like, in a couple of years, we're going to be in high school. And this is some of the stuff that's going to happen in our lives. My life has never resembled American Pie in any way, shape, or form. I thought it was going to be either like American Pie or it was going to be like the Bratz movie, like the live action. It wasn't like either. The Bratz movie was more realistic, but I was like, this is the kind of stuff that's going to happen like when we're teenagers. So it's good that we saw this so we could be prepared. I wrote that one scene in the movie The Wild when they're driving into Times Square and the song Clocks came on by Coldplay. That's a deep cut. I don't know if anyone will get what I'm talking about. It was not a very good movie. I liked it at the time, but I'm pretty sure it was like Madagascar, but it wasn't Madagascar. I think it was before Madagascar. But there's a scene when all these zoo animals, they're looking for the lion's son who was taken away to a different zoo or shipped back to the wild or something. They're all in a truck and they're putting their heads through the ceiling of the truck and looking out at Times Square as they're driving into it, and Clocks is playing. And that feeling, like at the time watching the movie, I felt like the happiest feeling. I felt like cold all over, but also like happy and sad at the same time. And that moment stuck with me. Like that memory of just that one scene. I got up when I was watching the movie. I got up and I ran to find my mom to ask her what that song was because I needed to hear it again. And that, I still think of that every time I'm driving into the city. Every time I'm going into Times Square, especially at night, I think of that scene. It just really like burned into my brain. Finding out my first boyfriend was texting another girl, so I had an excuse to break up with him. My first boyfriend, when I was a freshman in high school, I was such a shy girl at the time, like had no backbone when it came to boys. So my first boyfriend, he had a pretty tragic backstory. Basically, his grandparents on one side of his family died before he was born. So sometimes he would have to get into a mood and be kind of mean to me. And I get it. You know, I also have grandparents that I never got to know. My Mew Mew and my Poochie. But I didn't really lash out because of it. I mean, I never knew them, so it didn't really mean as much to me. But for him, it was a pretty big deal. It was like a whole thing that he used to tell me all the time. You know, I never got to know my grandparents. And I'd go, yeah, I know. I also never got to meet mine. And then he'd kind of just keep talking over that fact. So I felt like that was something we could have had in common. But instead, it was kind of just like, okay, we'll just let him have his moment. This is something that meant a lot to him. These people that he never met. So yeah, he'd have to lash out at me. Sometimes it was just something that had to happen because he had just so much pain from that. And I could not wait to break up with him. I just didn't know why. Because I, again, shy, 15 years old. I didn't know what a good reason to break up with somebody was. And I definitely did not have the heart to tell him I wanted to break up because I did not like him. I just wasn't there yet. So I was like, okay, I found out from a friend that he was texting some other girl. Perfect. Couldn't wait. I was shaking with excitement the whole fucking weekend to see him on Monday, get on that bus together and tell him, I don't think that I can see you anymore because I know you've been texting Emily. He sobbed on me on the bus. Understandably, it's actually really hard to get caught kind of like cheating, and it takes a toll on a person. So he sobbed a little too loudly on my shoulder while we were driving into school. And that whole bus ride, I just could not believe like what a weight was lifted off of me. In the beginning, it was all like cute, and I didn't really know like what being in a relationship would be like. We were allowed to go over to each other's homes and hang out if we kept the door open. So we would do that. We went to the movies once and probably did one or two other things. And the more I got to know him, the more I was like, you're kind of just a mean teenage boy. And I don't like you the way that I thought that I did. I thought you were nice and sweet, which is why I liked you in the first place. Now I realize you're not. I don't like you anymore. But I had to hold out for a reason because, you know, I'm a fucking kid and I don't know how it's supposed to go. Finding out that I had a reason, it felt like I felt so much lighter. So it wasn't memorable because it was my first breakup. I wasn't upset at all. It was so memorable. It felt so big because it felt like, who knows how long. Eventually I would have broken up with him either way, but I had to really gather myself, like gather the courage to do it. Who knows when that would have been? Hopefully, you know, like at some point, like the next year, the next school year, I feel like I started to find myself and find my voice a little bit more at like 16, 17, but it was going to take some time and I just could not hang on anymore. I could not be more thankful for Emily. Shout out to you. Wherever you are in this world, thank you. Because you'll never know what you did for me. She'll never have any idea. But I've always looked upon her fondly because of that. We don't know each other. We never did. It's just, I would see her around school and I'd be like, Carl, you really did that for me. You really saved me. Some of these don't really fit the same category. I think I just started making another list in the middle of like thinking of these things, of like feelings that I still am trying to chase as an adult. One of them being having a cold Entenmann's chocolate donut at the dining room table of the home that I lived in when I was 10. I don't know if I could ever top that feeling. I mean, a cold Entenmann's chocolate donut is always going to hit, and that will never change. That's evergreen. You give me one of those, it's going to do it for me every time. Take me back to that dining room table. But no other food can make me feel like that. It's just the nostalgia of that one thing. And going home from school sick when you're actually sick. I've always loved that feeling of being sick with like a fever and getting to go to sleep. Not having to worry about work, not having to worry about school the next day, nothing. You just go to sleep and you get that good fever sleep, especially when you're like getting the chills. I love that feeling. Okay, that's it for me this week. I would say same time next week, but the time these have been posted has been pretty inconsistent. So what I will promise you is that you will see me next week. I hope that counts for something. Bye.